Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Dreamhack Allstars, the NA Summer Regionals have now officially started, and we have a very interesting draft template here. Not quite what I expected, but I like it. So we have currently the match between... we know that TNC is playing, and we also have on the other side Cloud9. The problem is that I don't really know which team is where. Did you remember, Tetcher, do you remember which team was left and right during the countdown?
Cloud9 was on the left in the countdown. I'm not sure if that's 100% the case.
I think that's actually the same. So Cloud9 in blue, ladies and gentlemen, and in red we have TNC. It's the first game of a best-of-3 series here in the group stage of Dreamhack Allstars. And yeah, my apologies that we don't have the actual team names in the overlay, but I guess that's a little bit of a problem with the template. So you have to remember that to the left in blue we have Cloud9 and to the right we have TNC. And in this case we actually see a ban on Kalthas followed by a ban on Illidan on the side of TNC. A first pick on Sylvanas, and Cloud9 of course now with a double pick here. For Sky Temple, and very interesting first pick. Not really something that you would necessarily expect in such a setup.
Yeah, Sylvanas has 100% jumped up the popularity a lot recently, but seeing her this early in the draft is very, very interesting. We'll see what TNC can make out of this. They can still build just a very solid comp around, because Sylvanas does give them a lot of versatility as either leaving her as a split pusher or running her as one of their main damage dealers.
One of the things that I'm interested in is the globals. We have with the Haka and Forster two heroes that have a lot of global mobility that you can always get, that have also like great utility in the game. Heroes that you can still add that have very similar approaches, of course, and on the other side, Brightwing and also an ETC with a potential stage dive, which has become a little bit more popular. But overall, Dehaka and Force are definitely two of the heroes that I would expect, or at least one of them, to be shown during the draft, since the mobility is just absolutely fantastic here. But as we said, ETC is another strong hero that can be very versatile in the way that you play him, since usually the Mosh Pit is, of course, your go-to heroic ability. But if your opponent stacks a lot of stuns, then you might sometimes be better off, especially on the map like Sky Temple, to go into stage dive instead. It's more of a niche pick heroic, but it's actually something that can make your entire draft a lot more flexible, so that might be one of the things that Cloud9 is currently looking for here. But they have a second pick coming in as well, and we are still waiting for that potential false stat, which is one of the heroes that K1 Pro, of course, played quite a bit.
Yeah, they could also pick up Dehaka now if they wanted to, if they want to bring him out, which would give them the double front line very quickly, limiting the options of TNC in terms of what kind of warriors they pick up later in the draft. But instead, leaving out a bit more global for now. Thrall being hovered over, still very strong, good engage, good setups if they do want to run Mosh Pit despite playing into a Wailing Arrow.
Yeah, so interesting that they actually prioritize Thrall this highly. I mean, Thrall is a very high priority pick, but they prioritize him here over the potential false stat. We're having, in this case, Thrall, of course, like at the bot lane, so they already secured themselves a solo laner. Oftentimes on Sky Temple, you still will see that Zagara coming into play at some point to at least take at the beginning of the game over the solo lane at the bottom. But we are seeing at this case now a TNC looking at a Muradin. Not really selecting him just yet, but a Muradin would, of course, serve a couple of purposes here. First of all, like, he's one of the best and one of the tankiest tanks that you can have at your front line, and then especially if you need those interrupts against ETC, then you have that Storm Bolt available, so that's one of the things that can really help you there. With ETC plus Thrall, we already have a heavy front line for Cloud9 and also quite a few stuns there that you can chain together as well. So a very tricky setup here, and TNC with a Muradin, I believe that this is actually like a very good choice on that part.
Yeah, Muradin is pretty much a go-to in any situation where you're unsure which warrior to pick. There's a very few situations where it's like, we need a tank. Is Muradin a bad idea? The answer to that's almost always going to be no. He just fits in every situation.
It's actually true. Like, Muradin is like never a bad idea. He might sometimes not be the best move, but overall he's just like a solid hero that he can always pick, and that is extremely strong. When it comes to the next pick, they have a couple of ways, of course, how they can draft right now. They could prioritize one of the healers and just say, we, for example, take Uther. Chances are that if they don't pick Uther, they're going to ban him out, since ETC and Thrall would both benefit from a Divine Shield. Depending on the situation, you could even think about going on to the Divine Storm and add another stun. Depends, of course, a whole lot what TNC is going to draft in the later stage of the game. But they are going to prioritize that false stat. I kind of like that, since I still feel that Cloud9 would have picked up false stat if they had the chance. So right now we're having, in this case, actually false stat picked by TNC. And with the new next bans incoming, Cloud9 has now the option to maybe even ban out a few of the supports. Ban, for example, Rhaegar, pick Uther, and leave then TNC with the picking. So yeah, there's a couple of strategies that they could use right now.
Yeah, they have plenty of options. A support ban would be solid for them, but instead they're going to get rid of more global potential, despite the fact they had the option to pick it up. But that would have put them in a very, very frontline heavy composition. So in this case, they're just banning out the option, and they're just going to take their fight in a different direction.
They ban actually Tacit out, so they switch from Tehaka, and I like it. That already indicates that they want to take Tehaka, which would give them a third melee hero, and also, of course, a very heavy frontline here. But the two globals that we've been talking about at the beginning of the draft already are starting to make their way into the draft right now. Falstad picked by TNC, and at the same time now there's the opportunity to pick Tehaka to at least have some counterplay against him and go for that split soak experience. We see TNC with a ban on Tyrande on the other hand, which makes a whole lot of sense if you think about it. First of all, with Tacita and Tyrande banned out, both of the utility supports are already banned, and with Tyrande gone, at least ETC Tyrande is not going to become a problem in the early game where the stuns can be stacked and Thrall can also get the damage in. Li Ming can't really benefit from a stunned hero, but they are actually about to ignore Tehaka completely. That might become tricky. I mean, Li Ming, not a bad pick. Rhaegar, of course, the Orc Brothers United would be a huge asset to the team. A Divine Shield would work as well here with an Uther. But Tehaka plus Falstad gives you so much mobility on the map that I'm a little bit afraid for Cloud9 right now. If THC picks up a second global, that could become a problem.
Yeah, very interesting. And Uther being avoided, still Karazim currently being hovered over for TNC, still quite strong. But kind of weird that Uther has been looked over. I guess they just want a bit more of that AoE healing to help deal with the big splash damage you're going to get from that Li Ming.
Yeah, at this point, I'm really curious to see what exactly they're going to go for the last pick. There's definitely a composition in which you could play Tehaka, but Azul would also work. The problem that they're still having is that the bot lane Thrall is going to have a lot of presence. If you have Zul down there, that's going to help you a little bit. Of course, Sylvanas could always take over if she really has to, but you don't really want to do that. Falstad for a time is going to be alright here and has then the opportunity to fly to the temples in the mid and the top. So they decide in favor of Zul, have a pretty heavy front line here. It's a good pick for them. They have a bit more wave play now with this, and Zul and Sylvanas on one lane can be absolutely fantastic for them. And interestingly enough, we still have Tehaka available on the side of Cloud9. So they read their opponent quite nicely, and they can now adapt to what they're going to do. They didn't lock themselves down with a second frontliner at the start, and now they can just like look at the combo and say like, you know what guys, Tehaka would have been a really good choice, but in this setup, Zeratul is actually going to do a whole lot more for us. So let's just play it with Zeratul instead. Which also, of course, means that they have to really coordinate all of their rogue abilities quite nicely because, well, we have a Thrall, we have a Zeratul, that's a lot of stuff that you can, if used at the same time, with. And yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Sky Temple, we're going to start in blue once again. We have Cloud9, and in red, it is THC, starting with game number 1 in the best of 3 series at the NA Summer Regional at Dreamhack Allstars. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our first game here at Dreamhack Allstars. We have to the left side Cloud9. They're going up against TNC here, and it is game number 1 in the best of 3 series in the group stage. We have currently, as you can already see, to the left side, Caffeine on ETC. We're seeing Dunk Train on Rhaegar. We're currently having iDream on Zeratul, K1 Pro on Li Ming, Arthalon on Thrall, and to the right side we have TNC Justing on Muradin, Butts on Falstad, Hao on Zul, Matro on Karazim, and Prismatic is playing Sylvanas. With me is Tetcher, and yep, we're gonna bring you the coverage here in game number 1 of Dreamhack Allstars.
Yes, we are, and for now, we're seeing a big group up by TNC in the mid lane. They do have 2 specialists here, so if they were able to get a kill, they could maybe get a huge amount of push potential out of it. Or they could just go for the standard strategy of clear the minion wave in just a couple seconds with the comp they have, and that's what they're going to do. Minion wave, deleted, removed, and now they're skeletons.
Yeah, so in the mid lane, already quite a bit of push going on. Falstad actually going straight up to the top. Now in this case, of course, we're having Falstad not really going up against Storm the bot lane, which could have definitely been one of the moves that we see from TNC, but they decide instead to just like roam around, and they have a lot of wave play here, especially of course with that Zul and Sylvanas combination that they're currently running. When it comes to level 1 talent, it's not really a big surprise there. Dunk Train is going into the extra speed on his Rhaegar, as you can already tell. And that being said, we have on Sylvanas also the Overflowing Quiver taken on level 1 right now. A lot of wave care happening for them, and actually one of the things where Cloud9 has to be a little bit careful here in the early game that they don't get some of their structures killed already.
Yeah, they need to play very, I'd say offensively here, because if they play defensive, they are just going to get sieged. That's currently what's happening. There's a Dunk Train up here, trying to bait out maybe some people attacking him so that Caffeine can come in and do this, gets the stun, but there's too many people up here. for them to really get anything out of it.
Yeah, and that is actually like a bit of a problem. If you only have a Rega against you, you're not going to be worried with 4 heroes to move in and simply attack the tower, especially if you're running a Sylvanas. And she is absolutely amazing when it comes down to blocking away the opponent. But this, on the other hand, is a very nice engage on Falstad. Yep, Cloud9 is ready for that. The problem is that the stuns that we're seeing coming in from Muradin are a bit too rough for them to handle, and Dunk Train took a lot of damage here. We're seeing Thrall in the middle, quite on his own, but he has to move down to the bottom of the map since Hao is currently making sure that the entire wave is pushing against the towers of Cloud9.
Yeah, so Thrall has to basically stay down there and keep soaking, but it is working out okay enough for TNC here, due to the fact that they are planning to play a bit on the defensive here. They're not going to be able to get the top temple, but the mid one is very much under their control. They were able to send Muradin down there and keep a lot of control there. They're actually going to make a bit of a play on the top, but they're struggling to get in here. It's 3 versus 3, but the poke damage is pretty good by them.
Yeah, nice engage by Kefi. Not enough, though, to lock them down completely, but they're trying to go for Sylvanas. A good Haunting Wave is saving her for now. Prismatic moving away here, running the poverty horse, as you can see in this case. Not even investing an amount, dude. What's wrong with you? So there's definitely a little bit more that he could have represented MVP Black, for example, or Cloud9. At the bottom of the map, Thrall is doing his thing, Arthalon is there, but in experience, as you can already tell, we have a bit of a lead on the side of TNC. They're doing pretty well here in the early game, and they also took down a very nice amount of towers as well, so they got a lot of structure damage into. We're having the builds continuing now, and both of the teams are heading slowly and steadily to level 7.
Yeah, with the level 4s, we are seeing very standard stuff. Triumphate coming in from Li Ming, we sometimes see a bit of variance on there. But for now, it is just going to be that cooldown reduction, so you can spam out those orbs, which is great on those temple fights, since Li Ming can stay a little bit outside of them and just poke from afar, and also continue to do that to towers. Zeratul finding Sylvanas here, not going to get anything out of it, and Arthalon also not going to land the Spirit Wolf, so Sylvanas will survive.
Well, we're waiting for level 7 to hit. One of the things that I want to really quickly touch upon, guys, is that you can, of course, already see with the talents down here that the UI is not 100% correct. I'm going to correct that for game number 2, so don't worry about it. Just want to make sure that you guys know that we saw that and we're going to fix that for the second game. But as level 7 comes in now, we have, after Sylvanas went into the Lost Soul, Tetcher already touched upon it, we have Barbed Shot now taken, which of course is going to give her even more wave clear, and especially against mercenary camps, this is going to be a great talent for her too. We're seeing Cloud9 already quite a bit behind, and they need to be careful. Level 7 is going to be an important talent for them, especially Zeratul later on with the Vorpal Blade is of course going to try and take Sylvanas down. That's one of the things where we could see great plays actually coming from iDream. At the bot lane, on the other hand, we have quite a bit of pressure, and we've talked about this earlier. If they can go through the wall here and maybe claim the entire front line before the second temple is going to activate, that would be a disaster for Cloud9, so they have to be very careful here.
Yeah, we do see TNC grab at least one tower here, but they do have to back up, which means the Siege Giants will fall here. And they're just going to play it very far back. Currently, Falstad rolling with this group here, just as the range damage, as opposed to split soaking some of the other lanes that you might see to try and get that XP. But they are already ahead in XP, so for now, it is working out for them.
Level 7 on Li Ming. Zay's Vengeance has been taken here. Very interesting, actually. Mid lane pressure against Zul at the same time as Hao is trying to run back. He's successfully retreating behind the gate. The fight for the temple, on the other hand, is still going on.
Yeah, you mentioned Disease Vendors or build or Falstad being chased down, able to turn around and do quite a bit of damage to iDream there, but will get out fine. Caffeine almost biting off a bit more than he can chew, but it looks like he will get out here, but that was still very dangerous.
Yeah, and it's not over yet. That temple is still active. Prismatic is trying to get away. Nice! K1 Pro is using the orb build immediately, getting the cooldown reset, putting a bit more damage out there. Zay's Vengeance on level 7, definitely enabling him to do quite a bit of damage with those orbs, and he wants to play that poke game, as you can tell. It was the first kill in the game now too. Sylvanas already dying, and she's gonna have a very rough time, as does Falstad. Zeratul is actually incredibly strong against both of these heroes. They have their escape, but if you go for the Vorpal Blades, you have always the opportunity with Falstad to chase after them, which is, I guess, what triggered that pick in the first place. iDream has to make a couple of very nice plays in the late game if they want to keep a good hold on those two damage dealers.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them. Both teams racing towards level 10 at the moment, and we're seeing a bit of aggression coming out from TNC. They actually find iDream attempting to be, but he was able to blink, dodges out the Muradin stun, and they will get out and not get caught out. If they had lost someone there, level 10s would have hit. They have now hit, but we're not seeing any kind of aggressive pushing anymore out of TNC.
Level 10s here with Avatar, Mighty Gust, the Poison Nova, the Palm, and the Wailing Arrow. And interestingly enough, thanks to Howard the entire time just like pressuring lanes and taking them down, they were able to get that lead in experience to maintain it. That's of course one of the things where, especially in this case, Cloud9 has to be a bit careful. This is still a very, very close game. And they captured the bottom temple, so at least they did that right. But at the same time, they need to make sure that they're not running into any kind of problem. As mentioned before during the draft, we have actually Stage Dive taken over Mosh Pit for Caffeine. There's a couple of interrupts, especially of course with that silence on the Wailing Arrow as well. So he doesn't want to go into the Mosh Pit, and with a counter against Falstad thanks to the global presence, the Stage Dive seems to be like a very good option for them now.
Yeah, it's going to be great, especially in the late game. It's going to really allow them to turn everything when the late game happens, because they're going to be able to spam out their Mosh Pit and do amazing, amazing things with it. Li Ming also going to be sticking with the Disintegrate here. Wants the extra damage to combo with her team's engage. Sundering into Disintegrate, lots of damage for the team there. And just she doesn't really have anyone who really needs the Wave of Force to get away from, so she should be fine there.
Yeah, K1 Pro always in the back, trying to get the max damage out of the orb as well. Needs to be careful here. At the top, Zeratul and Zul are facing each other on lane, but Zeratul is starting to make his way slowly into the mid lane to get another wave, and also have the option to rotate bottom and maybe set up a bit of a trap with his Void Prison. We're already seeing him slowly moving in. They switch ETC up to the top, and it makes a whole lot of sense for them to go with Caffeine at the top lane, since he can always use that Stage Dive to move down to the bottom of the map and simply engage in the battle, whereas Zul has to walk the entire distance. So a nice rotation on the side of Cloud9, I like it a lot. At the same time, we have the temples activating on the map once again, and we're seeing Cloud9 starting to concentrate on the mid temple, whereas TNC is at the bottom of the map.
Yeah, Cloud9 just giving up on this bottom temple, just guaranteeing themselves one. They're not going to fight where they feel they don't need to. However, they are taking a lot of shots onto that bottom 4. It will go down to the temple at least. And Birds has forced a lot of Cloud9 members away from mid lane. In comes the Stage Dive. They wanted to fight here, but Justin was already backed out there. He didn't want to get caught out, so just left the point to Cloud9. And Zul has moved to the mid lane to steal the shots from here.
I really like the way that TNC is playing this currently. They're just playing around Cloud9. They're not very eager to engage in any kind of team fight. They are just simply trying to move around the opponent, going for the objective and pushing lanes. And that is really one of the things that their composition caters to. Especially with Mighty Gust on Falstad, they can always disengage in any kind of situation. So I like the approach that they're taking here. And I'm curious to see if they try to play the entire game like this, or if they're willing to engage into late game team battles. Because so far, the only thing that they've been trying to do is just like play the objective and play around Cloud9, which is actually pretty cool. And make this Stage Dive, by the way, so much more important. Could be really the saving grace of Cloud9 in the end.
Yeah, they're going to need that in order to try and save this game. Oh, getting chased here, but Marta already there to protect him, and the Bone Shield as well will allow Zul to get out of there pretty safely. Sylvanas has grabbed the Bruiser camp as well, so that will keep pressure on this top lane, while Falstad soaks the bottom one.
Windrunner on level 13 for Sylvanas with a Burning Rage for Muradin, and we're seeing at the same time the Wormhole for especially, of course, like Zeratul, who's going to have a lot of mobility here. They're trying to go this time for Sylvanas. Dream with the damage already. They are going for How, but they have to retreat at least for now. Thrall at this way up to the top. He went into the Spell Shield. He has his level 13 ability, and at the bottom of the map, Falstad is still pushing it in. They have an entire level lead already. TNC is playing a great game here. They are really catering towards the strength of their composition and make sure that Cloud9 is never finding themselves in a 5 versus 5 situation on the map.
Yeah, and where's it? Oh, Falstad thinking about flying in there. They wanted to try and grab someone. Decided not to risk it, but now here comes the Stage Dive. Will hit Zul here, but there's the Mighty Gust you were talking about. Just an instant disengage. iDream going to try and turn it around. Gets a Void Prism onto rest of his team following up. Muradin coming in from behind, trying to delay this out. The Sundering only hits Zul, who does drop here. Barge was able to barrel roll out. We're seeing the full escape being attempted here by TNC, but Cloud9's comp is just a bit better when it comes to the fight, and the chase potential is good.
Yeah, they're trying to go for Muradin. He already hops away, but Arthalon follows it up, prevents the mount, but they're not going for it. They don't waste any more time. They go straight for the boss. Cloud9, I have to say that this blast pick on Zeratul was absolutely ingenious. If they would have gone for Dehaka, they would have faced a huge problem here. But with Zeratul having the opportunity to just jump it from the side once that Mighty Gust has been used and stop the opponent with a Void Prism, they can force fights against TNC, and this is exactly what they need to do. Great play from Cloud9 there, but as I said before, I really like the style that TNC is showing here. They have an idea. They're not simply picking a composition and say, hey, we're going to win these fights. They picked something against Cloud9 where they simply said, we can play around these boys. We don't have to fight them. We're going to take a lead, and when we have a talent lead, then we're going to go into a battle. The only reason why it doesn't work is that Cloud9 is currently playing a fantastic game with very good decisions.
Yeah, Cloud9 have been keeping themselves in this game very nicely considering the type of comp they're up against, exactly like you said. And it's only now that Cloud9 have been able to take down the second fort of the game. They have been behind 2 forts so basically the entire game up to this point.
Yeah, we have also now the Arcane Orbit taken on level 16. That's usually not one of those things that you see a whole lot on the Ming, but a completely different build that K1 Pro plays here compared to the normal build that we're seeing on the hero. 16 versus 16 right now, and on level 16 also quite interesting, even after the Lost Soul on 4, we do not see Cold Embrace. We have instead the Evasive Fire picked by Sylvanas. So right now, once again, we're having a fight happening here with Forset at the bot lane with the opportunity to fly in whenever he's needed. Zeratul is making his way in now too. Hao is in trouble, trying to escape, and the Sundering to the face, and look who's there, Caffeine with a stage dive slides in. He was waiting so long for that power slide, very well done. Great silence by Sylvanas though. Karazim is about to fall, but it's Dunk Trade who dies first.
Yeah, Dunk Trade does drop here. Looks like everyone else is on the run. Karazim and Sylvanas being chased. Sylvanas will go down. Karazim looks like he's managed to escape here. He will be seen by the minions, but no one is coming up to catch him. But that is a 2-for-1 trade there. Very nicely done. And like you said, Caffeine coming into the perfect time with that stage dive and the Sundering. An amazing snipe by Arthalon.
That was actually really, really well done. I love how Caffeine actually delayed his power slide for so long. He was waiting for the perfect opportunity where he really could lock someone down and was sure that he would prevent escape, and that's exactly what he did. Only the Palm saving Karazim in this situation. And Cloud9, they are playing a strong game here, but let's not forget that when it comes to experience, they're actually only slightly ahead right now, and that's one of the things that we definitely have to keep in mind. We're having both of the teams on level 17. From a structural point of view, Cloud9 might be slightly ahead, but they don't have a huge lead, so a team fight can always change the outcome of the game. They have 5 kills against 1. Not really a very kill-heavy game, but that's also, of course, because TNC has completely different plans than going into team fights all the time.
Yeah, they've been attempting to avoid it, but Cloud9 has done a good job forcing a couple, which is why they've actually managed to pull themselves into a slight lead in this moment in time. And I would like to just call out this orb build from K1 Pro. It chunks. We already knew it chunks. It was the first time we've actually seen it, or at least first time I've seen it actually use effect really effectively in a game.
It's a ton of damage.
Yeah, he zoned out Zul for basically the entire of that last fight, where basically Zul was already on like a quarter health before the actual fight happened.
Yeah, he's already at 40,000 damage in total, and I mean, when you look at the siege damage on Liming, she's at 87,000. The only hero that has more siege damage in the game is Zul, and I mean, that's to be expected, of course. But by now, we are seeing another temple announced at the bottom of the map. There's also another one up at the top. And keep in mind that right now, both of the teams are on level 18, so this is still a game that Cloud9 could easily lose. It depends all on how exactly they're going to come into these fights. If they can maybe force another team battle. Already up at the top, we are seeing Birds here on his false start. Dunk Train and K1 Pro are looking for a possible rotation of the opponent. They're all coming into the temple right now. The only one at the bot lane is Caffeine. He has always the stage dive ready that he could use if need be, but for now he's just simply escaping, making sure that Prismatic is not putting too much pressure.
He is the only one with global presence though, and as such his entire team was stuck in the top lane. We've seen Thrall be back. K1 Pro has just run down because they need to defend here, otherwise this peak could be in danger, but Caffeine gets the double stun. Will get rooted by Zul though, disintegrate not enough. And everyone from TNC gonna be backing out, but here comes the stage dive. Zeratul coming from bot, they're gonna try and catch them out.
Prismatic with the wave once again. Dream is on the way though, and that was the second wave for Prismatic already. There's the palm, completely denied. They're going for Hao. Hao is dead already. They kill. No, oh my god, they actually triggered. They triggered the palm still, but it's a double kill already. And Caffeine is playing a fantastic game. He always anticipates the waves. He always slides through. Caffeine is definitely the bane of Prismatic's existence right now. Every single time a wave is used, Caffeine is immediately where he's supposed to be. Great playing coordination on the side of Cloud9, but especially Caffeine and K1 Pro are playing a fantastic game.
Yeah, godlike stage dives, godlike damage from the Leeming, and incredible chase potential from iDream. This Cloud9 group is just playing insane this game, and they're going to move in and try and get the first keep of the game, and they still have the remains of that temple that they abandoned to come and defend bot.
Yeah, the level 20's in play, the temple is up at the top and they can still get that, but they're just moving through the keep for now. They take down as many structures as they oh my god, they take false stand, and that is going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. Great play here on the side of Cloud9, a great first game. Zool is back, but it's already too late. They simply go for the core right now, and they are gonna finish what they started.
Yeah, Disintegrate on the core. Core's being worked out, everyone too high health, and that is GG. Nicely done by Cloud9.
Really well played. The lead for Cloud9 in the best of 3 series against TNC. Alright everybody, we're back in game number 2 of Cloud9 versus TNC. As you can already see, we are back to the normal overlay. You might have asked yourself already in the first game what exactly changed with the overlay. Basically, we're currently on the B stream here for Dreamhack Austin, and well, this is more of a community stream. I'm actually not in Austin myself. I'm actually at home, like jumping into the games that are not covered by the main stream at Dreamhack Austin. And the main stream, of course, has a couple of additional assets and also a production crew behind it. So they use a different layout for the draft, and they have a production team that just fills that with additional graphics and live footage from the venue, something that I don't have access to, and therefore, of course, we went back to our normal one. I just talked to the admins about it. You can see the draft is already shaping up right in front of us for game number 2. Cloud9 is currently in the lead. We have them to the left side here. They banned out Zagara, and TNC reacted with a ban on Tyrande. Keep in mind that right now we're in Battlefield of Eternity, so it's like map control with Zagara is very important. The single target damage that you can put on the Immortal as well. It's one of the reasons why Tyrande is actually being banned out here, because her extra vulnerable trait can do a whole lot of work when you go for the Immortal as is. Cloud9, with the typical Cloud9 move here, they go for King Muradin. Caffeine, of course, he wants his hero, and we have an ETC counter on the side of TNC. Once again, I'm not alone. Tetcher is with me, and we're going to bring you the coverage for game number 2 here in the best of 3 series in the group stage of a Dreamhack Austin.
Yes, we are. So, like you said, the Warriors being swapped by the teams from the first series here. So both times the stuns from the Muradin were pretty on point, and Caffeine was pretty beastly on the ETC, but this time we are going to see him swapped around. And TNC, once again, putting very high priority on that Sylvanas. On this map especially as well, it does help a lot. It allows you to really heavily commit when you have that Immortal to try and dive in and throw someone off.
Alright, as the dogs are actually being released, going into that draft. I love that Sylvanas, so we're going to talk about that in a moment. But yeah, thank you very much for the support. Watch work.
Thank you, Khaldor, for saving our ears from the other stream. Enjoying the lack of screeching, keep it up.
I was not quite aware that the A streamer is currently having a couple of problems with audio, but well, it is an offline event, so stuff like that oftentimes happens. I'm still set at home and therefore using my normal setup, so we shouldn't run into too many technical difficulties here. As Tetcher already said, Sylvanas on this map is very good, and well, on Battlefield of Eternity, she can not only put a lot of damage onto the Immortal itself, but if you actually capture the objective, you get a lot of pushing power out of Sylvanas. And I have actually seen the first Immortal go as far as to take down a keep if you have a good push with Sylvanas, so it can be brutal. You have to be very careful against this. Cloud9, they went for a very nice counter though. I like Li Ming in this setup, not only because in the last game she was already very successful in the hands of K1 Pro, but also because this is a poke map. If you can really poke against the objective and you find yourself in one of these stalemates in the middle of the map, then you can do a whole lot of work with Li Ming there. So I like that Cloud9 goes for it. And actually, they have 2 of the heroes that they used in the last draft already. So it's a pretty sweet setup here for them, and TNC needs to be careful that they don't fall into the same trap, and this is one of the reasons why they immediately start to ban out Zeratul, you know.
Yeah, they don't want to get caught out again. The Zeratul was just too scary. But Cloud9, once again, hovering over the Tassadar. Last time they banned him out as well, but that was when they already did plan on picking Zeratul, possibly. So they would have been revealed, basically, when Zeratul tried to do anything. But in this case, it's between Zeratul and Falstad. Falstad would still be very strong for TNC and would give a good amount of disengage, like it did in the last game, but without Zeratul to really counter the disengage, the Falstad would have a lot of worth here, but instead it is the Tassadar ban.
It's actually the second time also that they banned him out. Manly Gugu, thank you very much for the resub, bro. But yeah, it's the second time that they ban out Falstad, and you can really tell that they don't want to run into one of these double supports. We already have a Tirana and a Tassadar banned out. Both of these heroes have been banned in the last game as well. So double support is a lot trickier to actually draft right now, and it's still one of the, I want to say, like, dominant draft patterns that we had in the last few months and weeks. So right now, Cloud9 shutting that down. They themselves apparently have no real means of, no real intention of going into a Tassadar plus Rhaegar plus Uther. But they have with Thrall already a nice hero that they can enable with one of these strong healers, and both of them are still available. So they are definitely guaranteed to end up with at least one of them. TNC with a very, very good pick here now as well. They go for Sonya. Sonya very, very strong in Battlefield of Eternity because she can put a lot of pressure on the Immortal too. So I am really starting to like the draft that they are running in this case.
Yeah, TNC, their draft last game as well was very solid. Their drafting game is pretty on point. But having the Sonya here is going to allow them to actually team fight a lot better than last game. But it looks like they may want Uther. They could pick both. They could very easily just pick both of them here. Uther is first, so they have that potential for the Divine Shield mosh pit due to Stage Dive not being as useful on this map, it being so small. And Kael'thas managing to slip through the draft all the way up to this point, despite being first banned in the other game, is now being considered.
It is a very difficult choice, I feel. Kael'thas is, of course, incredibly strong. We've seen that in the past a lot. But I would love a Sonya here in this setup. I have to admit that. I feel like if you want to go for a Sonya, you will have a very good chance of picking her up last. And I feel that's something that TNC is currently gambling for. They're also a little bit more flexible in their draft with picking a Kael'thas first. Cloud9, on the other hand, with a Falstad right now, at least they're thinking about it. I feel Falstad would be a very good choice, and they actually go for him. And they pick that Rhaegar for the support of Thrall. So the Orc brothers once again united. And TNC still has the opportunity to go into a Sonya, and I would really like that setup for them. They would have very nice on-target damage against the Immortal with Sonya and Sylvanas, and Kael'thas, of course, provides a lot of AoE and can also add an additional stun. They have quite a few of stuns and CCs in this setup, so I like that draft for TNC a lot. Cloud9, on the other hand, of course, also with quite a bit of poke. They really need to make sure that they get those Immortals, because that Sylvanas in this particular setup that TNC is running is a little bit scary, if you ask me.
Yeah, Sylvanas is very scary. Drop a silence onto a team and get a mosh pit on it, or vice versa. It's going to make it very difficult to react to an engage by TNC, especially if they want to run Leap or something like that, which we have been seeing a lot more lately, usually comboed with something like Falling Sword, but it has made its way in quite a bit. And Cloud9, their comp scene, like you said, has an insane amount of poke, so I'm curious as to whether we might see that orb build again.
Yeah, so guys, we're going to go into game number 2. Keep in mind, Cloud9 is currently ahead with a 1-0. We're going to jump into the second map, Battlefield of Eternity, to find out which team is going to take it here. And maybe we already have a victor after this game if Cloud9 is able to secure themselves a 2-0 victory against TNC. Let's find out together on Battlefield of Eternity. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, in game number 2 of the best of 3 series here at the Dreamhack Austin. Cloud9 going up against TNC, and they are in the lead. We have actually, in this case, a bit of a switch, as you can already see. We are going to adjust the overlay in just a moment, but already as visible here to the left side, we actually have the team of TNC. They are running it currently with an ETC on the side of Justin. We're having Butts on Sylvanas. At the same time now also Hao on Sonya, Zul in the last game. So he switched his role quite significantly. We're currently seeing Matra on Uther, and we have Prismatic playing Kael'thas. To the right side, it is Cloud9 with Dunk Train and Rhaegar, K1 Pro on Falstad, I Dream on Thrall, Mirrodin played by Caffeine, and Arthalon is playing Li Ming. Both of the teams going straight into the middle, trying to see if they can maybe snipe someone. That's not really the case, but everybody is just like moving back to lane right now, with already a couple of cool talent choices taken here in game number 2. Yeah,
starting off with the Mirrodin, for example, bringing out that perfect Storm, so potential for a bit of high damage, and combining it with the Sledgehammer a little bit later so they can just get massive damage to that Immortal. Other talents, we are seeing the Paralysis coming in for the Sylvanas, so she can just poke away and help, like we said before, with sieging with the Immortal. Li Ming, she's the situation where she can't really pick up globes that much, so power hungry, not as effective, so we see the Astral Presence. Kael'thas, though, ignoring that and going with the Mana Addict.
Yeah, he's going for the mana addict, but one of the heroes that I also like in this choice is that we have a bit of a switch on the side of Dunk Train, who went in. Oh, K1 Pro! That was a close call here on Falstad. He moves away. But as I was saying, Dunk Train, again on Rhaegar, but a different level 1 talent for him here, catering towards the needs of the map. Lightning Bond taken, so they can put a bit more pressure onto the Immortal. Great talent choice for him. I like it a lot. In the last game, he went for the extra speed in Wolf form.
Yeah, like you said, adjusting for the map. The speed and ball form allows you to get around those large maps very quickly. Whereas Lightning Bond, dropping that on a Sonya, dropping that on the Thrall and just as himself as well, allows you to just deal a lot of extra damage to those Immortals. And if you get into the team fight, can also help out that way, considering there's a lot of heroes that are going to be in melee range from the side of TNC.
Cloud9 is actually playing a lot with vision right now, trying to make sure that they have the potential to pick the hero off on the map. You have a lot of damage pressure on the Immortal of Cloud9 at the same time now, though. Nearly even hit points for the two teams. Both of them have a lot of potential damage, especially, of course, after level 4, when Muradin can also pick up the Sledgehammer. This is going to increase even further. Arthrodon this time on Living. K1 Pro switched over to Falstad. And both of them just going for the race right now. And Immortal number 1 is going to be won by Cloud9, but just barely. 366 hit points remaining on their Immortal. That was definitely a very close call.
Yeah, that was very close indeed. Muradin heading over to TNC, basically delaying them as much as he could, just throwing out a stun or two. His team was denied the damage, but him doing that also helped him build more stacks on Perfect Storm. So hitting 2 birds with 1 stone there, I very much like that choice.
Yeah, it's actually like really smart on the side of Caffeine, like denying a bit of damage, getting his stacks up. It's going to help once that he picks up the Sledgehammer, which he did by now. And the Immortal at the top lane, I mean, he's not going to do too much. They don't run the Sylvanas, it's TNC who does that. But they go through the wall, put some pressure also onto the well, which is going to be making the life a little bit easier. They can try and snipe that maybe with Arthalon and a few globes. He already took down the wall, so he has free access to the well right now, unless someone is heroically throwing himself in front of the orb, tanking damage. But that's definitely one of the things that they can do here. And we also have now the level 4 talents, of course, in play, with a couple of cool adjustments. Once again, we have the Flow Rider taken on level 4, which is going to combo so well with that level 16 talent with the Airy Gust, if he decides to go for it. And a few interesting choices here as well, when you're looking at Kalthos, for example, who went for the Energy Royal for the cooldown reduction.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to spam out his stun as much as possible, and with the extra damage he could take on level 7, that's going to give him a lot of extra damage in the team fights. Basically drops the stun, throws out some abilities, and just bursts people, and that's what you want to try and do to combine the BTC or someone like that. Camp killing taken by TNC in the bot lane. Muradin trying to interrupt, or at least trying to scout, but will not get anything out of it.
The top well has been taken out. It was actually interesting to see that Sonya was jumping in several times to try and deny it, but it didn't work in the end. Caffeine spreading the love here with the bombs. iDream is trying to run away and not damage the rest of the structures, but Sylvanas is again providing a lot of push ability on the side of TNC. So they're really trying to abuse that as much as they can. A quick pause is being asked for here, so apparently someone on the side of Cloud9 is having a few issues, but that of course gives an opportunity to talk a little bit about what's currently going on the map here, especially when we're talking talents and also that pressure play at the bottom of the map.
Yeah, the bottom of the map has been pressured very aggressively by TNC. They're trying to push up as much as possible due to the fact they had a camp, but they were able to get a tower out of it very nearly a second. But what they were also doing there is denying Caffeine from really getting any kind of map control, because if he starts getting map control, him and Li Ming combined do insane structure damage. So they could basically push up and just wipe out the towers, giving the Immortal a much easier time. So having a big push from TNC here really kept Cloud9 on the back foot here and only allowed Muradin to just gain a stack or 2 here and there.
Yeah, the important part is, of course, also that the level 7 talents are going to be very important for the next Immortal. And in this case, we could actually see Cloud9 picking that up a little bit faster. Everybody seems to be ready, so things are looking good, and we're resuming the match with one tower at the bot lane gone. Second one about to be denied. And as the top camp is already pushed in, or pushing in, Cloud9 is a little bit early on this one. We are seeing still TNC working on their own siege camp, and this is going to be very difficult to deal with and very annoying to deal with at that. So Cloud9 will have to make a choice. Are they going to go into the middle of the map and try to simply fight, or are they just like keep pushing? Oh, Sonya at the top lane now taken out. That's of course a huge blow. That is perfect timing now for Cloud9, and they have level 7 even. They can also raise the Immortal if they want to. They're already moving straight for the opponent's Immortal. Nice! Using the stun circle against Kalthos and obliterating him here too. Great play by Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9 instantly starting to dictate the game there with that kill, leaving Kafid at the enemy Immortal to just hold up anyone who tries. There is the half health being taken there, though, by Cloud9 as well. That does give a bit of time for gives a bit of time for TNC to regroup. And TNC staying on their own Immortal right now. They're on even talents, but they still have a long time to wait for Tail Pass.
Yeah, they have to defend right now, and that's exactly what they're doing. We're having on level 7 the Gravity Crush taken. We're also seeing the Barb Shot, and that is going to make Sylvana so strong when it comes to the Immortal fights. She's really just now starting to unfold her entire potential when it comes to the objectives. That's going to be very important. Again, the stun circle. Kafid is trying to use that to their advantage. We're having Seeker taken this time on Living for the poke. She's the only one at the bottom trying to poke down the Immortal. A lot of damage dished out by both of the teams, and the Immortals are actually nearly on even hit points as we speak. But Cloud9 is moving for the Immortal on the bottom of the map, doing a lot of work here. And once again, TNC has to try and defend.
Yeah, the poke damage from Cloud9 is making it really difficult to defend, though. You're seeing everyone getting chunked. Justin, the person who's supposed to be tanking, had to pull back because he just took too much damage, and as such, Cloud9 will take the second Immortal of the game.
Now already at the bot lane, the Immortal is going to spawn here. We have a level lead for Cloud9. They're playing a really good game here. We see them with 2 kills against 0, and they are really running the show. Keep in mind, though, that once that we have an Immortal claimed on the side of TNC, that Sylvanas alone is going to be able to just empower that Immortal to an extent that they can easily catch up. And they already try to catch up in experience by leaving Sonya at the top lane, which also means that we are having, for a little bit, a 5 versus 4 here at the bottom of the map. Thrall is rotating to the top now to meet the experience zone, but at the bottom, we are definitely going to see at least a 4 being allowed.
Yeah, Sylvana's trying to use that Barb Shot to clear up the Immortal quick enough, but it's not good. Actually, but no, it's gone. Fort will die here with a combination of Falstad and Li Ming assisting it, but the Immortal does go down as well, so it won't get anything extra, and immediately we see Cloud9 backing out. They don't want to get caught out, but they do know they have their level 10s very soon, so they're not leaving the area yet. They're not completely decommitting here. They just don't want to get caught out just before level 10 hits and lose that advantage.
Yeah, the level 10 is going to be a massive, massive asset now on the side of Cloud9, of course, and we're seeing them with Mighty Gust. We have, of course, Ancestral taken for Rhaegar, plus Avatar, Sundering. And I mean, Li Ming can still go into the wave of force here if ETC decides to go into the mosh pit. We could actually still see Li Ming holding back her heroic ability until ETC makes a choice. This integrate is a great heroic ability if you can go for it, but if ETC decides to simply go into the mosh pit over the potential stage dive, then of course it would make a whole lot of sense to go into the wave of force instead, just to have an additional interrupt already.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense for ETC to pick the mosh pit here, which is why Li Ming is leaving it for the moment. But right now, TNC do have quite a bit to go before the heroic. It's going to take even longer if they lose Sonya here. There's the stun, there's the root, trying to focus her down, but she used that ferocious healing, gave herself a little chunk of health, and gets out completely fine.
To be honest, Li Ming could even go for the Disintegrate as is. I mean, we have Sundering as an interrupt, we have the Mighty Gust, and we have Muradin. So there's a lot that they can use here, but if they want to make 100% certain that ETC is not going to get a big mosh pit through, then the wave of force would of course be the weapon of choice. And they actually head into it right away. They're not even waiting for ETC to hit his level 10. So in this case now we're going to see both of the teams fight for the third Immortal on heroic abilities. And there it is, that leap that we have been talking about earlier. Leap and Wailing Arrow, now a potential combo on the side of there. Oh, and there's the heal, well played. So many heroics already traded, Divine Shield out too, but Dream is very low, explodes the Wailing Arrow, used to great effect. This could be the moment for TNC to really come back into this game.
Yeah, that was a beautiful Divine Shield by Marta there, able to turn that around nicely, but they don't want to push into Cloud9. Look at the health bars of Cloud9 compared to the health bars of TNC, and this is all from Cloud9's poke. Even when they lose a member, they just turn around, Storm Bolts, Boomerangs. It's so hard to deal with in this situation.
Now we have a defensive position now taken, so defensive position for both the Immortals as well. And by now, Thrall is back to business. So TNC, they are still much lower in hit points on their Immortal. If they would have had a chance to actually go in and claim the Immortal, they might have been able to use Sylvanas to not only come back into this, but maybe even take the lead. Right now, they have to be careful, though. Kafid alone with a Sledgehammer poke is in a position where he can dish out just so much siege damage, and the same is, of course, also true for Li Ming. And once again, they're starting to move in. The laser show is about to start as Arthelon is just zipping around with those missiles, and iDream is using the Fort Lightning. Great play here from Cloud9, but still a bit of poke from TNC, and they're trying to see if they can... Oh, wow.
My God.
They can lock someone down, and K1 Pro was about to be that victim, but great reaction here on this side.
Yeah, and this has just been Cloud9 in general. Every time ETC comes in, that last power slide as well, when he went in for what looked like a mosh pit, they split away from that mosh pit so quickly before he could even have a chance to activate it. It was just so fast reactions from them, and Justin just can't appear to get a break here.
Yeah, we have a camp taken in the meantime, by the way, and that was a great move because that camp is going to start pushing the top lane forward, and at some point we will have to see TNC moving someone to the top lane to deep push, and that's going to be the opportunity that Cloud9 is going to take here. Caffeine is moving in again. Just look how much damage that Storm Ball already does. He did a great job at stacking it, and right now we are having K1 Pro abusing the Boomerang, Athlon with the missiles. You can't just block all of that. It's absolutely impossible. If TNC is not starting to take a fight here, they are fighting a losing battle. They're definitely on a clock in this case.
Yeah, and here we go. There we go. Cloud9 just getting the Immortal. Everyone's at full health. It's just so hard to deal with it. Right now, Muradin has an extra 85 damage on his Storm Bolt, whereas Falstad, with that Hammerang here, has a bonus 74. That's how much poke they are dealing here, just getting every single hit.
They're playing a great game here for sure. TNC, they are waiting for that one chance, that one opportunity, one team fight that they can win, where they can finally use Sylvanas to push structures down and get all that juicy experience in forts and keeps. But now it's again the Immortal pushing in for Cloud9. And it's a big one at that, the third one in the game already. Oh, down here on the other hand, the kill against Thrall. Great play on the side of TNC. Well played, and they have not used a single heroic ability for the kills. They actually start to threaten Cloud9. That Immortal is most likely not going to do too much. Cloud9 still sticking around though. They want to poke a little bit. They have to be careful. A good leap in a mosh pit could definitely ruin them.
Yeah, we haven't seen a single leap yet this game. We've seen Justin looking to set up for a mosh pit, but the leap so far could be used as a surprise potential here if anyone steps out of position and groups up. That's getting choked there very, very quickly, but Immortal is down. The keep will survive for the moment, but Cloud9 still in complete control of this game.
I like the choices in abilities that we have right now as well. The tidal waves are being used. You are not really having the most trouble. You don't necessarily need the Earth Shield with the burst that we are seeing on the side of TNC. But having the extra heals against someone like KT makes, of course, a whole lot of sense. You have the cooldown reduction, and that is going to be really important, especially with the level 4 talent when you already go for the mana reduction on your chain heal. This is a great talent to go for. Static Shield are also taken for Falstad. It's another great addition to the setup that we are seeing for K1 Pro. And we have at the same time Li Ming going for the Glass Cannon. Caffeine very much alone, needs to use that Storm Ball just before Uther is able to stun him out. Uther already using the Shrink Ray here, which was quite important as well. But Caffeine still able to get away. And both of the teams are once again on even talents. And I mean, if you look at it, we have 2 kills against 2. The only real advantage that Cloud9 has, and it's a big advantage, no doubts about it, is the structural advantage in the game.
Yeah, the structural advantage and a little bit of map control. As you can see, we have a lot of members of TNC split off here because they had to defend top. Caffeine setting up a good wraparound coming in here. K1 Pro with the Mighty Gust is here as well. They're going to try and get onto Sonya here. A lot of damage coming out, but the heal from Uther is there. And as such, how will survive this? But you already mentioned this static shield coming in from Falstad. It's going to be so effective thanks to the huge cooldown reduction. He basically has a permanent shield throughout all of these fights, just as long as he keeps his flow up.
And again, the Immortal is being announced. Guys, I cannot tell you how incredibly strong these Immortals are becoming with the Sylvanas. I know we've been harping on the topic a little bit, but every single Immortal is one of those moments when Cloud9 have to make sure that they win it. If they lose an Immortal and at the same time 1 or 2 heroes, they could lose a keep out of nowhere. So it's incredibly important for them to win the objective, and that's exactly what they're currently trying to do. So we're having right now, again, them a little bit faster when it comes to the damage output. Caffeine and the Boomerang build, plus, of course, Caffeine himself with the Sledgehammer are going to be very important for that. Here comes that leap, though, but a great cleanse being used. Dream is getting healed. There's the mosh pit, but ETC is dying too fast. Oh, that kill against Thrall. It's a trade, 1-for-1. Caffeine at the front with his avatar already. He's looking for another Storm Bolt. Doesn't get the chance to hit it though. Power moved away. K1 Pro is still there. Nice damage output. Look at Athlon spamming out the damage, and they go for it again. Oh my god, that Storm Bolt hit by Caffeine. What a kill shot.
The poke is so insane coming out of Cloud9 right now. What do you even do against this? like ETC attempted to take the spell shield to help deal with this, and so far that's going really well for him. But in that last fight, the Divine Shield dropped onto Sonya instead of ETC, so the mosh pit ETC was just focused down and killed off. But Cloud9, they take another Immortal here. They're going to be pushing in the bot lane, and this is going to be so hard for TNC to defend.
That damage output is crazy. Arthalon the entire time with his poke, and then you have the boomerang damage coming in, you have the sledgehammer. That is just so much. We were talking about Sonya being great in this setup, and also Sylvanas with a barb shot. But what Cloud9 is currently pushing out as siege damage is incredible. 56,000 alone already on the side of Li Ning, and they are pushing it in again. So a great game being played here. Caffeine actually toying around with the tanks at the top a bit, trying to shield the rest of his team with a nice position at the side. They're about to hit level 16 as well, and they're gonna go for the keep here. The keep is definitely going to fall. I mean, the shields on the Immortal are still intact, now finally destroyed, but it's a talent advantage for Cloud9 that we're talking about now, and they are already marching towards the core.
Yeah, they are just about to have the last heroic up, so everything is ready. They're going for the kill here. Trying to take down ETC, who has a long time to go. But then leave it to the backline. Good silence from Sylvanas. Trying to chase down Li Ning, but there's the nice Ancestral there. And they turn it around and take down the Sonya. Down goes Sylvanas, and this is going to be GG.
Yeah, definitely 80% on the call already. There's that triple kill as Uther is annihilated, and ETC is blown to pieces. The last survivor for a few seconds is Kalthas, but he dies too. Great play, and Cloud9 with a 2-0 victory against their opponent here. Great setup for them, for the group. Well played. GG. Congratulations.